Couple of minutes, Mr. Chairman. Now, let's talk about the exemption sa GCG. May I ask why? Essentially, the GCG reviews whoever you will appoint in the board.
Yes, Your
Now
Honor.
you created an advisory body to make the corresponding recommendations sans the GCG. May I ask why? How will the operation of MIF be hindered if the appointments to the board go through GCG? The usual course, if it is indeed a GOCC. Anong problema ba ng GCG na ayaw niyong padaanin sa kanila? What will be hindered if it goes through GCG? I understand, DBP, dumadaan sa GCG, di ba? Land Bank, same. So, ano yung hindi nyo magagawa o makukuha kung dumaan sa GCG kaya ayaw nyo? What's the logic behind it, ma'am?
Siguro po, given yung experience ng mga government corporations namin in terms of yung pagpapadaan sa GCG, dahil sa dami rin po ng ine-evaluate nila, yung due diligence po nila, so medyo nagkakaroon lang po ng time-consuming. But if it would just be through the advisory body na ang composition naman po ang ating Department of Budget and Management Secretary, ang NEDA Secretary. So there also would be in a best position to be able to have a determination of who should sit dun po sa board.
Ma'am, if it's only time that you're concerned about, I would presume that the GCG is really busy at the beginning of any administration. It's been 6 months. Halos na fill up na halos lahat ng government corporations. Kung may backlog man sila, tapos na yon. So it's only time. So we include as part of the bill. I-prioritize nila to. I mean, if it's only the delay that you're afraid, I'm telling you already, the bill will be delayed because there are so many gaps and loopholes in the bill. So the GCG will have time. You can already start processing some of the names as soon as it is approved. What else, ma'am? Because I wonder why you don't want the GCG to go through the nominees. I presume all of these will be via a letter of intent signed by the president. It will go through the advisory board. The advisory board cannot just take up applications from whoever, di ba? As it is with the GCG. May letter of intent, ang Secretary of Finance, ang Presidente, depende sa korporasyon, which the GCG will process, and if they approve it, then the appointment or the designation will be affected. So why else, ma'am? Aside from the time constraint, bakit nyo ayaw dumaan sa GCG? Anong ayaw nyo sa GCG kung bakit nyo ayaw padaanin? Aside from the time.
Hindi lang, if I may, Your Honor, hindi lang po kasi naman in terms of the nominations to the board ang ginagawa ng GCG. Marami rin po silang ginagawa, evaluating po yung performance scorecard and the like, no? So maraming preoccupation na might also delay in terms of the nominations to the board for the MAHARLIKA Fund. And we see naman po with this, the advisory committee, na they would be in a best position to be able to know who should really the best minds to be able to make the MIC function very well. So yun po yung rationale behind bakit hindi na lang po dadaan sa GCG.
The main reason why GCG has a permanent term is to guarantee independence. All of the people you're mentioning, DBM, DOF, and EDA, are all coterminous with the president and serve at his pleasure. They're all coming from one side. In fact, the main reason why GCG is there is to provide a different and separate perspective. Dahil wala naman sigurong isang tao nagmamayari ng lahat ng talino, galing at magandang intensyon para sa bansa, di ba? Maganda rin mapakinggan yung iba. And the same is true here. If you really want this MIF to succeed, the more heads that are participating in crafting policies and being a part of it, I think it would be better and best than simply all coming from one and the same group, all obeying the command and will of the president because they're all coterminous with the president and serve at his pleasure. unlike the GCG. Moving to the next point, ma'am. Why exemption from the procurement law? Including purchase of, ano bang papers yung sinasabi niyo exemption? Pati supplies niyo, exempted sa procurement law? Papel, stapler, ribbon, computer.
I think ang sinasabi po sa procurement law are technical services. Yung pong pag-e-evaluate, like if they're going to get po yung fund managers, so that would be exempted from the Government Procurement Act.
It did not specify here. It simply gave a blanket exemption sa procurement law. Again, I'm talking about purchase of supplies, not only fund managers. I'm talking about purchase of vehicles. I'm talking about rental or purchase of a building or rental of a building or office space. I'm talking of almost everything and anything. Would you change it later on, ma'am, to specify?
Siguro po, there would have to be some clarity. Pero po sa Section 32, nakalagay po doon yung engagement of professional or technical services needed in the selection of investments as authorized in this act, such as fund management, investment, etc. po.
I agree, ma'am. Pero hindi nga ini-specify kung anong kasama. Exempted lang. So yun lang ba ang intention nyo? So we will specify that.
I
Ngayon lang.
understand po, maybe from the Government Procurement Act. GPB.
Yes, ma'am. GPPB?
Yes, sir. Good morning po, Mr. Chair, as well as the honorable members of this committee. I'm Maria Ginesha Guillermo.
Ma'am, sit there, ma'am.
Thank you.
Para hindi kayo naka...
Sorry. Kawawa naman. Hindi naman niya pumili ng trabaho.
Yes, ma'am. So what's the intention here? Saan lang exempted ang MIF?
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. Actually, it is not, the RA 9184 is still applicable as a general rule for any procurement activity of the MIC. We only have provided an exemption, particularly in the engagement of technical and research services. The reason why is because we wanted them to just give them the opportunity to really be able to forge their agreement, contractual arrangement with the service provider. But however, we have made a specific requirement wherein it should be that the board should come up with the approved guidelines in the selection process for this fund or research technical services, sir.
Ma'am, under pa rin ng COA to, di ba?
Yes po.
So ano magiging basis ng COA to say, mali to, hindi tama to?
Of course, sir, we would look into it as part of the requirement pa rin po when they would specify po yung specific na criteria when they would be engaging with the research or the technical services provider po.
Ma'am, in this changing world, there are already consultants that subscription na lang naman yun eh. Subscribe ka sa mga, di ba, sa report ng kung sino, Bloomberg, kung sino man, di ba? Okay lang naman yun eh. Hindi naman issue yun eh, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Now, other procurement activities of the MIF, subject to the procurement law?
Yes, sir.
So when they buy a piece of property,
Then it is still procurement law, sir. As long as we have qualified there, sir, that it is only exempted insofar as the engagement of technical or research service providers po.
I presume pagbili nila ng bonds, ng certificates of indebtedness, securities, wala lahat yon, di ba? Wala naman procurement law yun eh.
There is still a procurement law, sir, because in general, we have...
Paano ma'am? Let's say bumaba isang share of stock, gusto nilang bumili. Bukas, paano procurement law yun?
There's, as far as we are...
What's the
concerned-
process, ma'am?
As far as when it comes to all procurement transactions of the MIC, sir, it is still imperative that RA 9184 would be applied.
So what does RA 9184 say with respect to the purchase of shares of stock? Ano yung proseso, ma'am?
Of course, sir, as far as you shares of stock, of course, this is still subject to the corporation code, sir. And then, as far as the procurement side of it, it is not under the purview po ng RA 9184.
O, so hindi nga kasama.
Yes, sir.
Hindi siya kasama. Pati pagbili ng government security, both
No.
foreign and local. Hindi kasama.
Hindi po.
Pagbili ng real property, kasama.
Yes, sir.
Do you make a distinction between an investment in a listed company and investment in a company that's not listed?
May we just look into it as, since we are referring to stocks, I think we have to apply the corporation code pa rin po, sir. So it's not necessarily
No,
po.
ma'am. No, ma'am. We're talking about procurement rules, procedures, and laws.
Yes po.
Is there a distinction between MIC, MIF investing or buying shares of stock from a listed company compared to MIC, MIF investing in a company that's not listed?
There's no distinction, sir.
You sure, ma'am?
Sir, this is insofar as the procurement law is concerned, sir.
Ma'am, may kumpanya ako, tinatakot ko sila. Hoy, bili kayo ng share, mag-invest kayo sa kumpanya ko. Ni walang nakakaalam kung ano yung laman ng kumpanya ko. Hindi, unlike a company that's listed in the stock market, well, it goes through
Yes.
several checks.
Yes, sir.
So, walang distinction from the point of view of 9184?
We are particularly looking at, sir, may I just check my notes, sir, is as far as investments are concerned, sir, this is not within the purview po kasi ng RA 9184.
Ma'am, you're with GPPB, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Submit to us, ma'am, the implications
Yes.
na lang
Yes,
under
sir.
9184 of the possible activities that MIC, MIF will be undertaking, assuming it is created into law.
Yes, sir.
Please, ma'am. Last point, Mr. Chairman, for this so that others can be given a chance. Now, Ma'am Lea, I'd like to take up tax exemptions. Exempt from local and national taxes, direct, indirect, National Internal Revenue Code, Local Government Code, all funds, assets, and properties, all revenue, income, investment earnings, as well as accruals thereto, purchase of supplies, equipment, papers, or documents. Exempted lahat? Does Land Bank or DBP enjoy the same? Ma'am, from Land Bank?
No, sir.
What kind of exemption do you enjoy from national and local taxes? Any?
None, Your Honor.
DBP?
None po, Your Honor.
Is this the first of its kind, Ma'am Lea? No, I don't know.
Because
Perhaps PAGCOR is, or NAPOCOR used to be to a certain degree, but
Yes. The intention na lang, sir. Because the intention is that given that foregone taxes to be paid, it will go back to the fund. So, iikot po yung pondo ng pera, mas mapapalago, mas magagamit. So, I think that was the intention behind.
I agree, ma'am, but you've been the National Treasurer for quite some time. You've seen the policy of previous Secretaries of Finance, regardless of administration. It's easier to have a uniform rule applicable to all than to create exemptions because it will wreak havoc on the system. You yourself said, it will go to government anyway. Diba? Doc stamps, babayaran. Final tax sa sale ng on income, sale ng shares of stock, gobyerno pa rin pupunta. Capital gains tax, documentary stamp tax, transfer tax, gobyerno naman lahat pupunta yan. So, why wreak havoc by exempting this entity? And again, I think this is the first time that, to my knowledge, na merong entity ganito ka lawak yung exemption na binibigay natin, when in fact, it will just simply go from one pocket to another of government. So if you want to preserve the fund, then we can put here, and then all taxes paid shall be reverted back to the company by way of additional investment of the national government. But let them pay the taxes in the ordinary course. Di ba ma'am? Mas simple yan. Kindly consider it, ma'am. Because you will have encountered several problems: purchase of supplies, equipment, papers, documents. Biglang tax exempt, exempt sa duties, exempt lahat. Ma'am, magulo yun, ha? Magulo siya. And it will be a gaping loophole insofar as entities selling to the MIF, MIC is concerned, because they will claim it's sold to them, even if it is not, and claim the exemption. Not MIC, MIF, the entity selling. Kindly consider that too, ma'am. Mr. Chair, I will yield to our other colleagues. Given that I'm sure they have other questions as well, I will await the reply and the feedback and the submissions and position papers from the economic team headed by Ma'am Leia, and as well as from the GPPB, for me to continue with my interjections and interpolations on the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that very good line of questioning. I was hearing the reply regarding RA 9184. I think with regards to the purchase of stock, just for clarification, I think that would be it would not be considered a purchase because that's actually a shift in assets. So it's as if you decided from cash to stock. It's not actually a, though it is a purchase technically, it's not a purchase. It's a shift in asset composition. Just for, I think that would be the more relevant. That would be the more relevant point with regards to the GPPB. It's not a purchase. It's a shift in asset composition of the GOCC. Would that be correct? Am I correct in making that assumption? Just for clarification.
Yes, sir. There's just a shift in the composition of the asset.
And I just want to make sure because stocks are not should not be under R1 RA9. That's definitely not. I just want to make that clear. So it should not because it's not a actual purchase, though it seems to take that nature. But it's a shift in asset composition.
Mr. Chairman, may nakalimutan lang ako.
Yes.
Next time, may I request, can the committee and the chairman require that the Secretary of Finance himself attend?
Yes. Thank you. That's a very.
To be asking Ma'am Leia, who is the National Treasurer, these
Yeah,
questions. She's a member of the future board of the MIF. You're not, di ba?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Senator. They were really support. In fact, hahabol pa daw sila, di ba? They just had a emergency meeting and they asked for begged our indulgence. So, but I understand they will be coming.
But do we even have one representative from the Department of Finance?
Yes, we do.
Sir?
Mr. Chair.
ASEC.
Sir, sorry, kindly convey to Secretary Jokno, I thought this was important to them. And they wanted us to rush this.
Yes.
They wanted us to do this and facilitate its passage. The least we would require would be their presence. I'm not diminishing your position, ASEC, but kung anumang emergency yun, siguro naman mahalaga din naman to so that questions can be answered and not simply passed on. And he will be the chairman of the MIF.
Yes, thank you, Sen. We share your opinion and we express this to them. That's why they said there will be, immediately after their meeting, they'll be rushing here. So we expect them soon. And for future, we will continue to emphasize that point for future meetings, that we will require them to show them so that we can expedite also the bill. Thank you very much.